Hi everyone, this is Nahla Salem, the Business Development Manager of Startups Without Borders, and I'm lucky to be presenting Roberto Croci, all the way from Dubai, speaking to us today for the summit. Welcome. He is the Managing Director of Microsoft for Startups and the former Regional Manager of Google for the marketing platforms. And he is here with us today to speak to you. Welcome, Roberto.
Thank you, Nahla. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for having me today.
I leave the stage to you.
Thank you. Let me just share my screen so we can go through a few slides together. So hello, everyone. I'm, as Nahla was saying, I am Roberto Croci. I'm Managing Director for Microsoft for Startups Middle East. I joined Microsoft a year ago. My background is in tech. I've been with Google for 10 years before joining Microsoft. Before that, I've been working in consulting. I've been in the founding team of a startup myself before joining Google. And I'm also partner in a micro VC fund. I'm very passionate about the entrepreneurship ecosystem. What defines me more than the companies I've been working for is probably where I come from and who I am. So in this picture, these are my mom, my dad, and I'm always grateful to them for who I am today, for how they always invested into me, into my brothers, and what they've been doing. My father has been an entrepreneur himself. He was a kid when the World War II hit Europe, and so he himself has been going through hard times. He was not able to get a certificate or finish schools, but he made himself through learning in the street, learning himself how to find a way. And at the essence, this is what entrepreneurship is about, right? So we talk a lot during the pandemic about the difficult conditions a lot of people have been going through. And we forget that maybe there have been already, in the history, very other difficult situations where people have been able to go through. So an entrepreneur is someone who always finds a way. And I will always be grateful to my parents for teaching me that. At the same time, there is also a question about who are the real heroes today, right? So our kids, my sons used to play with the superhero from Superman, Batman, whoever. But as the pandemic showed, there are stories there of normal people that have been real heroes, right? So if you think about all the doctors, and here you have an example of Nelson is a doctor in the United States, and he has been able to come out with an idea to protect doctors and patients while assisting them in the ICU. Nothing rocket science, but it all came down from his background, curiosity, his history of when he was a kid. He was backpacking, so he was out there encamping a lot of time. So he didn't imagine, of course, that experience would have served himself later on in an hospital, in the setting of an hospital. But this is where the mindset is, right? So is connecting the dots across different experiences in your life. And back to how we started this slide is who do we trust in what people call the new world, right? So who are the heroes today? Now, the thing is, it's all about embracing change and all about acknowledging that no matter what, we need to be ready to change. We need to be adaptable. So, and this boils down to, the question about who we want to be, regardless of the COVID-19, think about COVID 2021 or whatever else will happen in the future. So it's about really thinking instead of having a denial of the situation and thinking reactively to things is thinking how we can see a way forward, how we can reimagine the future. And it's about embracing change. And that's at the foundation of what a growth mindset and how a growth mindset is different from fixed mindset. And it starts with culture, right? So a culture based on growth mindset really believes that everybody has a potential. You can nurture potential, and encourages people to lean into uncertainty, and to take risks and to always being willing to learn and taking challenges as opportunities to learn something new and learn from mistakes, learn from failure, and move forward. So that's why I wanted to summarize in the next 10 minutes just the 10 tips in my career, I mean, my experience for what is a successful entrepreneurial mindset, or how to look into uncertainty, lean into uncertainty, and take risks. So the first learning is definitely it's all about people. I've been working for a technology company, and the greatest takeaway I have is that it is all about people. So you should always be in the lookout for best people if you want to work for them. So find the best people that you can work for. So your manager is the person that can make a difference for you, right? And gain perspectives by finding these great people, and you have to find the great people. So the message here is you need to be very proactive. Nobody will come to you if you don't do anything. You need to be a giver, but you need to be proactive in building your own board of advisors, your own support network. And if you are a manager, you need to invest in people with potential. Or if you're a founder, you need to build a kick-ass team, because that will make a difference, especially during hard times. People will stay with you to help, to support, and they will be able to pivot if you need to. You need also to connect to people, but in a meaningful way. Networking doesn't just mean showing up and expecting that by a connection you will have that support network. You really need to add purpose and meaning in building this relationship with people, and always surround yourself with positive people, because energy, that kind of energy is the flow that you need to go with to make sure that you can be successful. So people is key. People is important. So I will never be tired of mentioning this. The second takeaway is it's very important, is spending time actually in understanding what is the real problem you're trying to solve, especially from an entrepreneur perspective. Sometimes you see a lot of founders that are in love with their idea, but what they're doing is basically trying to get a solution for some of their assumptions, but they're not really tackling the real problem, a problem that can have a real impact in the life of people. So, spending time in the why question and are really nail down what is the problem that you're trying to solve, and bring that clarity of purpose with an informal communication in what you're doing is really key. It's asking the hard question is the job of a leader, and you need to be comfortable not having all of the answer. And that's part of how the world is today. Complexity, uncertainty increase. As that increase, it's totally fine not having all of the answers. But again, connecting the dots between the people, the network you build, and the real problem you're trying to solve is where you can find that clarity of purpose. But that connects also with who you are as a person and who you trust in the new world. So this point and the next one will all be about values and authenticity. Being authentic is not enough, because even if you're authentic, you might not be successful or you might not be effective. So effective authenticity is what you need to strive for. And it all starts with awareness. You need to be aware of where your blind spots are. You need to be open to receive feedbacks from others and focus on your strengths, getting out of your comfort zone. So go out of the building, stretch yourself, in terms of ideas, experiences, connections, where it's not your comfort zone, is where you can start learning. But more importantly, you need to be leading this change. So if you are a leader, leadership needs to have a voice. You need to leading the change, making things happen. And that means that you need to mobilize people, whether it's your direct team, your boss or your colleagues or yourself. You need to mobilize people. So there is this concept of action that is connected to doing that comes with leadership and empowering others. So how you measure success, it really makes a difference. So measuring success by the difference you have made in other people's life is where you really can have a difference as a leader, and also go through uncertainty with your compass that is about making a difference and serving others. At the same time, it's all about trust. And trust is a sort of a new currency, especially in this new normal, in this new world. Who will you trust in the new normal? We have seen many situations that have been opened up from the recent pandemic where, you wouldn't really trust a number of people that are out there, right? So trust comes with professionalism and how, competent you are on what you are doing, but also intimacy, how intimate you get with the people that you support, the people that you get in touch with. And checking your ego at the door. So in the working environment, or even in a startup as a founder or a person that would join you as a founder in the startup, the question is, would I work for this person? And would I be learning from this person? Is this person setting the right culture? And would I be enjoying spending time with this person? Trust is really important. And again, you yourself, you need to be proactive into building your own luck. That's the main takeaway is strategy is execution. So whenever you see a beautiful strategy on slides, rounded number, great plans, but then what is going to be executed is what is the real strategy happening on the ground, right? So you need to be a player, not a victim. So it's about understanding what are the capabilities that are needed in terms of making a difference and try to acquire that experience. Forget about the job titles, forget about someone else managing your career. You are responsible for that. You don't have to look at the title, just seek for impact and opportunities to learn. And don't forget that how you interpret a role is what makes a real difference. So if you go in with that mindset, you would convert luck events into value. So it's up to you to make that happen. And as we talk about uncertainty, in my experience, I would say the way I would embrace uncertainty is having your own beliefs set. So in my case, for example, I would go for always an unrelenting quest for the truth. I would try to take responsibility in a causal sense all the times, because I know that when things go wrong, people wouldn't escape, wouldn't go away from me, and would be there to support and help even during challenging situations. I tend to delay gratification. I don't like really low-hanging fruits. I prefer to go for the long term. And the question I would ask is, would I be able to hold my head right whenever there is a difficult decision to make in a very uncertain setting, as it happens often and more often these days? So it's about the standard we walk past is the one we accept. So this is a sort of a belief set that guides me, and this is the way I look at how to lean into uncertainty, how to take risks, how to embrace change. At the same time, resilience is key, especially for entrepreneurs. You might, someone might bend you, might take you down, but it's how you bounce back that makes you an entrepreneur, right? So, and how you develop the soul of your startup is, again, how you bring the clarity of purpose to what you do, and how you set, the culture, the way people work in your startup, in your team, which is about, you can have frameworks, but you need to allow certain freedom within that framework. Informal communication, what we would do at the coffee machine, and also you can hire fiercely independent people, but people that respect the contribution of others with abundance of spirit. So people that can pass the credit, keep the blame, and work as a team to make things happen. The other last few points is about how you should think differently about your competition. In my career, I've learned in great companies how, in reality, these great leaders have been thinking differently about competition. I also think differently about how to set partnerships, how to focus on your strengths and build products that users love, and be really disciplined and stick to your mission in what you believe that you can really make a difference in the life of millions of people. So love your enemies is a little bit provocative, but it's about accepting disagreement and choose to love one another despite the differences. So allow diversity of thinking, diversity of opinion. And this is very much important. So diversity, inclusion is really key. It's not just about the usual conversation about gender or geographical locations. Is really about building a diverse environment, diverse culture, diversity of thinking. Is yourself in your career progression, in your career, is the diversity of roles or of experiences that you were able to align up and connect the dots across them. It's how you do not turn down ideas early on and you are a yes and kind of person that then you can converge to make things happen, but also is how you allow people to come to your company, if you are a founder, with that psychological safety, the sense of belonging, so that they will give you that discretionary effort that you wouldn't get otherwise. So I always challenge people is to consider if their network is diverse, network meaning the people, but also the experiences that they have been doing in their life, because that really open up their mind. And whenever you have to pivot or you make decisions, that kind of experience, that kind of exposure is what make you pivot more easily or in a smarter way than what others would be able to do. Finally, never fail to fail is about, we said it in the beginning, we repeat now, it's failure is you need to accept it. Of course, you need to learn from failure. And this is something in this specific region, we hear people talking a lot, but most of the times you have the same people on your neck 1 quarter after asking for the results, right? So you really need to build an environment where this can really happen. And you as a leader, you as an entrepreneur, as a founder, you need to be totally comfortable not having all of the answers, because again, it's an increasingly complex world, and it might be that you don't have all of the answers. So that's totally fine. The last point I want to make is, and this is probably the most important, is also how will you measure your life? So in my experience, what I learned myself the hard way is start with the end in mind. So it's about the legacy you want to leave. Whenever I have someone joining, or when I join a new role, I always try to understand when I will leave that role, when I will leave that experience, what is it I'm going to leave behind? Because there is this research from Harvard about the top 5 regrets of dying. And as you see here, people regret that they didn't have the courage to live a life through their self. They also regret that they haven't worked so hard, that they had the courage to express their feelings, that they stayed in touch with their friends, and they didn't allow themselves to be happier. So good relationships and people is what keep us happier and healthier. So you need to overcome that fear and really think about the legacy and the impact that you as an entrepreneur you want to achieve. So it's also more about the profitability of your venture and the social impact you can achieve with your startup. With that, I will stop here to allow some time for a few minutes for questions, and I will stop sharing. Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you, Roberto, for this. We have some questions. We only have 2 minutes for questions, so I'm going to start with Wurud. Wurud is asking how to keep critical thinking without doubt. It seems to me impossible. What is the distinguish between the two notions?
Look, in my opinion, so there is a lot of bias in the way usually people express their point of view, right? So you need to first, and it starts with awareness, as we said before. You need to be aware about the cognitive bias that you have as a person. Even if you don't want or you don't mean to offend someone else, you need to be really truly listening. Listening meaning pause and whatever your judgment is, your point of view is and listen to what the other people are contributing to, because the reality is most of the times the best answer or the real decision would be in the middle, right? So because different points of views come for a reason. So I would say you need to be divergent and then convergent. Divergent, but not convergent from the very beginning. Divergent meaning try to be aware of the cognitive or of the biases that you have. Listen to the different ideas. Then, of course, it comes a point where you need to make a decision. But if you make a decision without having considering all the other factors, the diversity of thinking you might have in the team, diversity of opinion, then maybe you're missing an opportunity.
Okay, actually, this is completely relevant to the second question. We have a question by Rama. She's asking, how can we make calculated, risky decisions? Working in a startup is risky enough. So how can we take risks when needed, but being careful? In other words, is there such a thing as educated risks?
Well, as we said before, I believe that yes, it's definitely possible. Is what we said before about you build your own luck, right? So, first of all, the job of the founder, the entrepreneur, and the leader in general is bringing clarity of purpose. If there is clarity of purpose and there is a kick-ass team, then you might be making mistakes and you might fail. And the real thing is you need to have the right culture, the right environment, the right organization where that failure is something that you're going to leverage. Is you're going to take all the learnings possible from the failures and you move on. So I would say, there is a way of taking calculated risks. That doesn't mean that you know in advance, in which measure you're going to fail or be successful. But definitely it's the environment you set basically that allow you to fail or to take risks, because you have the right team, the right organization set, you have clarity of purpose, you have informal communication, so people are bringing their own self to work, the team is working with contribution, and so this is what ultimately set you up for success.
Okay, we know we took a lot of time from you, and I would like to thank you for being here with us, and we can't wait to have you again. A lot of people are asking about the materials, or even asking about the Microsoft projects you're using while presenting, because no one saw this feature before, so we received many questions about that. So thank you. Thank you for being...
the transcript?
Yeah, a lot of people asked about it in the chat. They were saying, what is he using? Can you ask him?
Yeah, absolutely. I will, happy to follow up anytime. If you want to share with me questions I've not been able to address, let me know.
Of course. Thank you very much. Grazie mille.
Prego. A pleasure.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Bye.